I'm Chelsea. I'm a dietitian from Memorial Hermann, Cyprus.
And I'm Kelly. I'm a dietitian at Memorial Hermann, Memorial City. And today, as a part of our resolution reset, we're going to be doing a workshop on back to school and planning meals for our kids. So we have some tips that we're going to kind of talk through first. And then, as you can see here, we're going to be showing you some fun ideas, some little recipes and things that we think would be a great idea for back to school or meal planning for our kids. So Chelsea,
Yes.
You have one on the way.
I do.
And you have a little toddler at home. Tell us.
True.
When we're making these changes, do we have to be perfect? There's a lot of pressure to be perfect and to be eating healthy all the time, especially when it comes to kids. Tell us how perfect we have to be.
So, short answer is absolutely no, you do not have to be perfect. So before we go into how we should be eating and our goals with eating and these lovely healthy meal and snack ideas that we have, do want to put out those disclaimers there that fed is best. I think obviously anybody with kids knows they can be super picky. So I think it helps parents and kids to both give yourself grace, kind of take off that pressure of being perfect. Not every meal is going to be perfect. We just got to do the best we can. And I think the other biggest thing too, the biggest piece of advice I always give to parents that say they want their kids to eat healthier and that kind of stuff is model the behavior for them, right? Kids aren't going to always do what we say, but they're going to do what we do. So if they see you eating fruits and vegetables, they see you doing healthy things, that may not change them eating right now or even in a year or two, but long term, that's what they're going to see and that's what they're going to model. So I think that's the best thing that we can do too. So all of that said, Kelly, what should we be trying to do when we're eating healthy?
So we brought our little plates today. This is going to be our blueprint, our template for the way that we want to be eating. So whenever we eat our breakfasts, our lunches, our dinners, we want to try and make 50% of what we're eating produce, so fruits and non-starchy vegetables. So when it comes to our fruits, why do we want to put fruits on our plate? They have antioxidants, they're anti-inflammatory, and they taste good. So it's great for a kind of some produce for kids to try. Then we have our veggies. These are going to have vitamins, minerals, and it's going to promote gut health and immunity, which is great as our kids go back to school. And we don't want to make this hard on ourselves, right? We want to get pre-cut fruits. We want to be doing frozen veggies. We want to be doing canned veggies. So make it as easy on yourself as possible. So we have that side. Chelsea, what's the other side of our plate going to look like?
So the other side is going to be our grains and our protein. So a fourth of that plate should be your protein source. You do want this to be a lean protein when possible. So that's going to be like a lean chicken, fish, eggs, soy, tofu, nuts, seeds. Those are all great lean sources of protein. We also want those proteins cooked in a healthy way. So that's going to be grilled or baked, steamed, really just trying to limit the fried options. Then the last part of our plate is our grains, or kind of our starchy carbohydrate item. So grains, when possible, we want them to be whole grains. The whole grains are just going to have more fiber, which helps keep us full. Also going to have more vitamins and minerals than the refined grains. So the grain foods are things like our whole grain bread, pastas, rice, cereals, oatmeal. And then we also want to put those starchy vegetables in this corner. So our starchy vegetables are potatoes, corn, and peas. They're vegetables, they're great for us, they have a lot of good things, but since they are a little starchier, we want to keep them in this corner. So now that we know what our plate is supposed to look like, what can we do? What are some tips for actually putting it into practice?
So we see time and time again, successful people are planning their meals out ahead of time. So whether you sit down with the family or whether you sit down by yourself at first, that's okay too. But you want to sit down, you want to write the words Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You want to write breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Decide what you're going to eat and work with your schedule. We always say don't work against yourself, work with yourself. So if you know you have something busy, you know you could have a busy night that night, plan Whataburger, right? Plan something that you know will be fast, and the next day we're right back on track. So it needs to be realistic, needs to be based on your schedule. So that's kind of the way that we see most people being successful. They sit down, they plan it out. So we have all these plans, we have lots of fruits and vegetables we want our kids to eat, but how are we going to get them to eat it? What if our kids don't want to eat veggies? Chelsea, do you have any tips on that?
Yes, definitely. So, I mean, again, like we said, kids can be picky eaters, so that's understandable. Again, I think we just want to practice having grace for ourselves and our kids and have that patience. So there have been studies that show it takes up to 25 exposures of a food for a child to feel comfortable to even start to try it, right? So as frustrating, as defeating as it feels, keep putting the fruits, the veggies on your kids' plates. and don't put the pressure on them to eat it, right? We want food and healthy eating to be a good relationship. So we want to try to stay neutral to that. So we don't want to put that pressure on them or ourselves either. So keep putting it on their plate. You know, one day they might just touch it. One day they might smell it. Those are all steps in the right direction. The other thing you can do too is involve your kids with the planning and the cooking. So depending on their age, obviously, and their skill level, when you're making that meal plan for the week Kelly was talking about, have them choose a dinner. You know, if they're a part of that, if they're a part of the cooking process, you have them, if they're old enough, to cut up certain things or mix certain things. My daughter's just over 1.5 years, and I'll even just have her stand on a stool and like play with kitchen utensils while I'm cooking so she sees it. So whatever you can do to get them involved, they're going to be a lot more likely to want to try and eat that food if they're involved in the process too. Other thing too is, you know, always try to, you know, give them these veggies or these fruits in different forms. So even just like using a cookie cutter to make vegetables or fruits a fun shape, they sometimes might be more likely to try it. Putting them, one of the recipes I'll go over is cauliflower tots. So trying those different things, and there's tons of convenience options. There's cauliflower tots that are pre-made now. There's zucchini noodles that are pre-made. You know, there's all these things out there that are really great in these different forms that kids can try too. I think it's also important that sometimes, yes, we do just want to sneak those veggies in so they can get them. So you can always puree vegetables like cauliflower, carrots do really well pureed. And then you can add them to things like a marinara sauce or a casserole. Even pureed cauliflower goes really well in like mac and cheese. And then that way they've got all those other flavors they're distracted with. It's foods that they typically like, but it's worked in there as well. Smoothies are also a great option. My favorite smoothie to make that my daughter likes too is like some leafy greens with banana and then some sort of like other frozen fruit, a little bit of almond milk. She doesn't even know she's getting veggies, and it tastes great too. So those are all kind of things that you can work on. And again, getting your kids involved, changing up how you're serving them can make them more likely to try these things too. So now that we know all that, Kelly, what recipes do you have for us?
Okay, so the first one is really complicated. It's a sandwich, okay? So, but sandwich is kind of the back to school staple. So here's the thing. We're trying to eat a little bit less processed meats this year. We kind of are starting to realize that processed meats are something we want to be doing less often. So that does include deli meat, unless you do it a specific way, salami, things like that. So you could do a chicken sandwich, PBJ, tuna, chicken salad. But you could also choose a deli meat that has been like in-house roasted. When basically my rule of thumb is whenever you're reading the ingredients, you want to be able to read every single ingredient. Nothing looks weird. So this one, all it has is turkey, and then basically olive oil and some spices. So that's kind of what you want to be looking for when you're searching for deli meat at the store. So we have our deli meat, and then what are we going to use for our cheese? So we're looking for something that has less saturated fat. So take your cheeses, compare them, compare the same ounces too. So when I look at the back, this one is, well, this one says 21 grams. So make sure that the one you're comparing it against also has the same serving size. So it's going to say 21 grams, and then choose the one that has less saturated fat. So this one has 2.5 grams. I would say that that's a great choice. This is mozzarella cheese. You can just get that at the store. So we have our meat, we have our cheese. What are we going to do for the bread? Okay, so here's my secret with the bread. We do want to try and do whole wheat when we can. But say you're doing white bread right now, you're trying to move to whole wheat, so you take a little baby step. So this is for all the changes when we're trying to get our family to eat something a little bit different. We want to make baby changes. So this is our honey wheat. It's actually nutritionally not that much better than white bread, but guess what? It's a stepping stone. It's a little bit darker. It gets them used to starting to eat something a little bit more whole wheat. So that's great for the bread. And then we have our little condiments. I like this olive oil mayo dressing. It's made with a little bit of olive oil. It has a little bit less saturated fat, which is great. And also this one has the benefit of having some omega-3. So look for something creative like that when you're looking for what dressing you want to put on your sandwich. That's kind of the sandwich deal. So what could we serve with the sandwich? I have a really great dip recipe, and it uses Greek yogurt. Okay, so Greek yogurt is cool because it has lots of protein. If you get the plain one, it doesn't have a bunch of extra sugar in it. And I like to get the 2% fat one because I like it to have a little bit of extra fat to help us feel full. If you get the 0% or the skim, sometimes we don't feel as satisfied with it. So it's okay to get a little bit of fat in there. So I like the 2% here. So what am I going to mix it with? I have two things. You can do sweet or you can do savory. And what you want to do is you want to pair them up with a vegetable or a fruit. So our ideal snack or our ideal side for our little lunch is going to be a protein. So we got that with the yogurt, okay? And we're going to flavor the yogurt to make it a little more appealing for, us, everybody. Okay. And then we have some produce to be dipping it in. So that's our great snack combo, protein plus a produce. Okay, so this is going to be our ranch dip. I don't know if you can see. It doesn't look, it's better. It looks better than it looks right now just because it's been sitting out. Okay, but it's creamy. What you do is you're going to mix in some ranch seasoning. Is ranch seasoning healthy? No, it's not healthy, but guess what? It's a way to put it into the Greek yogurt. It's a vessel, so the Greek yogurt gets in along with some veggies. So that's an awesome way to use something that's a little bit more delicious to help us eat something a little bit more healthy, right?
I always say, like, I would rather, this goes for kids and adults too, I would rather you eat your veggies with a little bit of ranch dip or like even a little bit of butter or salt. If that's going to help you, if that's going to help you eat more vegetables, right? Like, I'd rather you do that than not eat vegetables at all.
Exactly, yeah. So we don't want to be so strict on ourselves or so strict on our kids that no one's eating their fruits and vegetables, right? Okay, so we have our Greek yogurt. We're putting in our ranch seasoning. Just put in enough to where it tastes like ranch to you, okay? I don't really have a rule of thumb how much. Just keep adding it until it tastes good to you or tastes good to your kids, all right? And so what I would dip in with this is just some carrots, okay? So, or celery, awesome. Okay, so that's that. And then this one's my favorite. Get ready for this. It's going to change your life. Okay, so we have our Greek yogurt, and then we're going to mix it with Nutella. Okay, careful, buy the smallest Nutella that you can because you will eat it straight out of the jar.
Yeah,
I guarantee you.
absolutely.
But if we add it with the Greek yogurt, it becomes this nice balanced snack. It's sweet. Kids are probably going to like it if you put enough Nutella in there. So I would just put enough in there that the kids are liking it, okay? And then what would I mix it with? Maybe some apples. You could do strawberries. That would taste really good with this. But you see, again, you're getting the protein, you're getting the produce, you're making it taste good, you're kind of sneaking it in a little bit. So that's what I like to do with those Greek yogurt and the veggies. So yeah, that's kind of the ones that I brought today. Chelsea, what did you bring?
Yeah, so I wanted to say too, I like the dips and that idea because it's something that I feel like you could make so easily and put out on the table. Like when kids come home from school or their activities,
Really good.
they're starving. Yeah.
Really
So
good.
to have something open like this rather than like a bag of chips, that'd be perfect. So I like those. All right. So the first recipe I'm going to kind of talk through is cauliflower tots. So these are kind of in a baggie. So these are homemade cauliflower tots. They do, like I said, I have seen frozen pre-made ones in the grocery store. Those are perfectly fine too. I personally just like the flavor of these. My daughter likes the flavor of these better than the pre-made ones. So I make a ton, and you can store them in little baggies. You can freeze them for a long time, just heat them up in the microwave. And it's a great way, again, to kind of get that veggie in a different form, get some other flavors, and it's a healthier version of a tater tot too. So to make the cauliflower tots, I just use, again, we're going quick and easy. So I use the frozen rice cauliflower. You're going to do this whole bag. I use frozen chopped onion. You could get both of these fresh. It might have a little more flavor if they're fresh, but again, toddler, pregnant.
Want it to be easy.
Yeah, fast and easy. So about a cup of this chopped onion. I didn't bring it, but you're also going to mix about 2 eggs. That's what holds the cauliflower tots together. You also add a little bit of shredded cheddar cheese, about half a cup of breadcrumbs. That also helps hold it together along with the egg. And then just for a little bit of flavor, you can do salt, pepper. Parsley flakes help give it that color too, and kind of also helps hold it together. So then once you mix all that stuff together, you can get your baking sheet out, spray with olive oil so it doesn't stick. And then we're going to bake them in the oven. It's usually around 400 degrees for about 15, 17 minutes or so, just kind of once they look browned and done. Pro tip, when you're trying to scoop the cauliflower out, use a melon baller because that can create the shape, and it's a lot easier than sitting there with a spoon and forming it with your hand. But it's totally up to you. If you want to create fun shapes, if your kids want to create fun shapes, you can really do it in whatever shape you want to. So that's our cauliflower tots. And then the next snack I have is just kind of classic, very popular kid snack, ants on a log. But this is something that you can really, again, get your kids involved with and create a bunch of different varieties. this could even be almost like a fun experiment that you can, you know, phrase to them too and say, okay, like everyone pick a fruit or a veggie, pick 1 or 2 toppings, put it together. Let's see whose tastes best or what you like best or that kind of thing. So that's one thing. So we have our classic ants on the log is celery with peanut butter and raisins. They are celery, peanut butter, chocolate chips. This is fish on a stream, which is celery, peanut butter, and goldfish. So you could come up with cute names for all of these. I didn't, but you could come up with something or get your kids to come up with something too.
That's a good idea.
Celery just with hummus. You can do this one in the back here is banana with peanut butter and chocolate chips. That's my favorite. That's a really good snack.
That's a good one.
And then this one is just cucumber with either hummus, or this one has cream cheese and a little bit of chia seeds. So again, you can kind of pull all these things out, have your kids assemble them, or you assemble them and see which one they like best. And it's that kind of fun new way to try things. I think too, something that can help is how we phrase the things with kids. So I know I've seen somebody talk about trying to get their kids to eat broccoli. And instead of like, hey, eat the broccoli, it's like, hey, how does the broccoli treetop feel in your mouth? You know, so it's kind of just getting them used to it without, or like, how much ranch can you dip the treetop in? So it's kind of also trying to be creative with that to see how they are willing to try those things. And again, if they try it, they don't like it, no pressure. We're going to keep trying, and there's no pressure on us, no pressure on them. It's going to make for a lot more positive of a food relationship for everybody too. Also just cucumber slices, you could put anything on those. And that just kind of gives you your different ideas for the different fruits and vegetables and ways to top them differently too. So that's one thing, like I said, you can make an experiment with kids. You could even do an experiment with like broccoli, for example, and have them raw, have it roasted, have it grilled, have it frozen, and kind of like have a blind taste test to see which one they like better too. So again, the more kind of relaxed and fun we can make this for kids, I think they're more open to trying it when it's phrased that way too. So those are all our snack ideas and tips. We hope that's been helpful for you guys. If you are enjoying resolution, there is a link in the Q&A. And if there are any questions, we'll be happy to answer those as well.